Right, you lot, let's talk Villa, and we're talking about ENZO Barrenechea, who is our latest addition, part of the Douglas Luiz swap deal. He is coming as part of that £50 million overall value. He is a 23-year-old central defensive midfielder from Argentina, spent last season on loan for Frisonte in Serie A. We're going to be talking about his stats. I found a very, very good article on him and what he can bring to Aston Villa, and then we're going to look at where he fits into the team before rating the overall deal. If you are enjoying the content, leave a like, subscribe for all the latest and greatest Aston Villa content on YouTube. Let's get into it. And you know how we do on the channel. We're kicking it off with FootMob. Like I say, ENZO Barrenechea, I've done it again. They're going to hate me in the comments. But he played on Serie A last season. He did end up getting relegated. He played 36 games. Pardon you, starting 32 of them, getting an assist and no goals. But if we go to his stats, you can see where he is the most impressive. Again, he's a central defensive midfielder. I don't know if it says it up there. Centre mid, DM. He's a bit of both. And the Cats are really on it this morning. God damn. But we're going to go to his passing and possession stats. First of all, this is where he starts impressing me. He completed nearly the most passes in that league, in that position, for Frisonte last season at 1,621, an 85.5% pass success ratio, 78 accurate long balls and 25 chances created. So really, probably should have been getting more than an assist. But when you're playing in a team that's been relegated, generally the strikers aren't the best. 8 successful dribbles. Again, that's not what he's in the team to do. What he's in the team to do is, I mean, look at that amount of touches. He's a conductor from the defensive midfield role. He conducts the way that the game runs, the tempo that his team plays at, and we're going to get into that in the article that I found a little bit later on. Again, touches in opposition box, not what he is there to do. Only dispossessed 16 times and won 52 fouls. And then you look at his defensive stats, like I say, we could have a bit of a Kamara-esque gem coming through here. There's a lot of good talk about him coming out of the Serie A this season, and for good reason. 42 tackles won off of a near 65% success ratio on those, 176 duels won, nearly 60% on those, 55 aerial duels won, again a position in which Aston Villa are weak. We conceded one of the most amount of goals from set pieces last season. He wins over 50% of those, 27 interceptions, 9 blocks, only committed 32 fouls, got 10 yellow cards, no red cards, 231 recoveries, and only got dribbled past 42 times, which, again, in a team that's being relegated, you can't hold that against him. We go over to FB Ref for those statistics, and again, nothing stands out too much in terms of his shooting. This is his per 90 stats for Frisonte last season, and this is against all of the centre mids in the top 5 leagues in Europe over the past 365 calendar days. And if we scroll down here and you go into his passing stats, and you start to see, again, what I said about him being a bit of a conductor from that pivot role here. Again, the pass completion gets him in to those green percentiles. His total passing distance being 861 yards. Progressive distance, nearly 250, puts him in the top 25 percentile. Again, this is across Europe's top 5 leagues. This is being compared against the likes of Tony Kroos, for example. And again, his passes attempted, medium, short, long, they're all good stuff. Good amount of passes into the final third as well, 5.12 per 90. Again, if you're feeding someone like Ollie Watkins 5 passes into the final third there, then it could be a different story in terms of that 1 assist that he did get. Again, passes from free kicks, we're not too worried about those. Goal and shot creation, about 1.5 shot creation actions per 90. Again, from that sort of conductor role is not too bad at all. And then you look at the touches, all high, blocks, defensive actions, all very, very high. His clearances, very, very high as well. Barely miscontrols the ball at all. And again, all recoveries, top 5th percentile in Europe's top 5 leagues. It is amazing. And I just wanted to highlight this article from the Copper Club. Now, look, do I claim to watch all the Serie A games? Do I claim to be a Frisonte ultra? Do I claim to know a lot about ENZO Barrenechea? No, I've watched a lot of YouTube clips since it's been announced. I've read a lot of articles. I've read a lot of his scouting reports. And this is from, again, someone who's clearly followed him a lot, followed him throughout his career and knows a lot about him. And this is what they had to say. In terms of his player profile, here you can see it's all the stuff about obviously the transfer with the PSR and Douglas Luiz going the other direction. But they do say that he is coming off the back of a breakthrough year at Frisonte. 36 appearances, defensive qualities, 5.88 interceptions per 90. It made him one of the best ball winners in Serie A last season. And again, they're saying about how he's intelligent in terms of his ability to read the game, claim possession there, 11.97 recoveries, the second best against all central and defensive midfielders in Serie A. This is why there was a lot of Serie A and specifically Juventus fans a bit more annoyed at him being included in this swap deal than Weston McKennie. Again, they've said about here, he drops deep to receive the ball from the centre-backs and he distributes forward into the midfield with an almost 90% success rate. And they've specifically mentioned Kamara here, who we're going to get into a little bit later on. And then it just goes in to say how, you know, he was tipped at a young age in Argentina to be a very, very good player. And then obviously this loan move here. But let's get into how he fits into Aston Villa's starting lineup and why I think he could be a bit of a gem. So here we have what could potentially be a starting lineup for Villa next season. Obviously, there is a lot of other transfers that may happen and these players may not be there, but this is just a bit of a placeholder. Now, we know that Boubacar Kamara probably is not going to be fit for the start of the season. He is the only true holding midfielder we have at the club. So I actually think, unless another signing is made, ENZO BARRENECHEA has a very, very good chance at starting for Villa against West Ham when we kick off in the Premier League. Now, obviously, I've brought in Maatsen and I've done a video on how he could transform our left-hand side, the fact that he likes to come in transition and play a double pivot. Now, what does that look like? We win the ball, we get it back to Martinez, we're passing it round the back. We could move something like this. Maatsen comes in here, Powell pushes out there, and Konsa to make the option for Martinez to distribute left and right. And then Barrenechea sits just in there, allowing McGinn to float around there, Rodgers to push up, and Bailey. Now, remember the article said that he's very good at dropping deep, getting the ball from the defence, and then playing the midfield forward. Well, Maatsen, it just so happens, is great at carrying the ball forward. So he's floating around here, he's coming in, we're playing it around, Barrenechea drops in to get the ball. He can then distribute it to Maatsen. He can distribute it to McGinn after we've got out of a press. And then he can just come as Maatsen goes more into his natural role. McGinn probably floats off there. And then Carlos and Powell can push up. Let me put him there. Allowing Konsa to push up again all the way to the right here and then bomb forward if he wants to. And then he can just sit in that pivot role and just spray balls left and right to Bailey running down the wing. We know he's going to be starting for us. I doubt that's going to go anywhere. Rodgers, we know that he likes to come in a little bit deeper to get the ball. He can come and receive the ball there. Or even a McGinn to allow Watkins and Duran to get into the box and then we work it out for the crosses. It really could work. What do I think about the ENZO BARRENECHEA deal? Look, his market value is less than $1 million. He's been valued at around 12 in this swap deal. Juventus fans were a little bit upset about him being included in this swap deal, more than Weston McKennie, who played 36 games and got 7 assists for Juventus last season. This is a player they had out on loan. He's 23 years of age. He appears to have bags of natural talent in that holding midfield role, and it's a role that we've missed since Kamara's been injured, you know. And when, unfortunately, and I don't like to say it because Boubacar Kamara is one of my favourite Aston Villa players, but sometimes players don't come back from an ACL like that. And they're just not the same, and it's going to take him time, and we can't afford to rush him back in. The same with Tyrone Mings, the same with Emi Buendia. It takes time, and if he is as good as all of these reports and YouTube videos and articles and scouting reports, etc., and comments on Twitter suggest, ENZO BARRENECHEA could be the holding mid that allows Villa to repeat top 4 next season. I do anticipate him to get more playing time than Ealing Jr. and for that reason I'll pop it this side actually because I always do. I'm going to give this deal an 8 out of 10. I think his potential and his ceiling is through the roof. He's the exact type of player that we needed, especially after the sale of Tim Irabonum. I'm all ears and I'm all eyes and I'm all excited to watch him at Villa. What do you guys think? Leave your comments down below. I will see you guys very, very soon. There's a lot of transfer news coming out right now. As always, up the Villa. Be nice to everyone. Peace.